Hello everyone, to another guide according to League mechanics. This time I'm gonna show you how to use altar of fragmentation and in general how to use farmer's waystone, mundane waystone and legendary waystone of fables. I'm gonna give you a couple of examples, my personal tips, my personal strategy how I use this. And I'm gonna explain general how it works. So let's get started. First you have to be next to the altar. You have to drop the desired item that you want to duplicate. Basically, this is gonna open according to the waystone you're gonna use, a Shattered Realm level. Farmers and mundane waystones, they're gonna open 12, which is count as a shard 60 in the original game. And recently they squeezed that to shard 30 or something like that. There is some shrinks in the Shattered Realm, so it's not so tedious to farm there anymore. Pushing there, not so farming. So I'm not sure how is the equivalent now, but if you play previously before the patch, these two waystones gonna be a shard 60 in the original game and shard 12 in the league. And this one, this is kinda rare, this gonna open shard 15, which is, of course, you need a very well geared character to farm shard 15 because this counts as a shard 75 in the vanilla game. But this is not so important. Let's start explain how this works. Very interesting. Usually the lowest tier one is a farmer waystone. This works with the commonly found components and crafting materials. Actually, this is rarer than the mundane. At least according to my experience, I have 25 mundanes and I have just 5 or 6 farmers, and of course this is pretty rare. The legendary one I found 5 or 6 in total, so I am very wise when I'm going to use that. Like Serious Stan mentioned in the Discord, it's very easy to check what you can use. Basically, let's say I am after ancient hearts. I drop one heart and the altar is gonna tell me which waystone I need. In this case I need the mundane. So ancient heart count as a rarely found material. Let's try something else. Let's say Celestial Lotus. Pretty hard to find this one, pretty tedious to farm. And it's one of the top candidates for a mundane. Actually, you have to place legendary. Sorry, that's my bad. I forgot Celestial Lotus is a very rare one. So this is my mistake this time. So I'm gonna put this here on this line. But let's say Eldritch Essence, another very important component that usually you need to reroll set items to another set items or same set to another piece of this set. So Eldritch Essence, another good candidate for duplicate, and you can see you need mundane. This time I'm correct. My personal tips how to use that: always think twice before you use any of these waystones because they are kinda rare and you don't want to waste them. Commonly mistake I saw people use, for example, oh, I need ether crystals, I'm gonna farm there. They waste a farmer waystone for ether crystals, but if you think, you can use dark ice shard instead or the same waystone, but you can flip these dark shards in a ratio 1/3 in the Forgotten Lake, and you're gonna, for every dark ice shard, you're gonna receive 3 crystals, which is a way more effective way to farm instead of farm directly crystals. So this is a nice, let's say, pro tip from my side. If you are after crystals, better use Ice Shard, and after that go to the Forgotten Lake dungeon, which is one of the new dungeons at the league. And there is a blacksmith in the 2nd level. It's very easy to find. Usually you have to explore a little bit the west south part of the map, and you're gonna find him, and you're gonna just flip. For example, usually you're gonna earn between 100 and 140 duplicates of the Ice Shard, and you can flip that for 300 plus crystals. Another common mistake, okay, I'm after a dynamites, I'm gonna use this to replicate my dynamite supply. Again, don't do that, just better use Ether Shard, because this Ether Shard counts as a 3 dynamites if you flip it in the blacksmith, almost any blacksmith in the game. This is gonna use a mundane stone instead of the farmers, but that's okay, because you're gonna earn, for example, 70-80 Ether Shards, and you're gonna flip them for 240 plus dynamites. Another little tip if you struggle, because if you have unlimited supply of dynamites, you can blow stuff like legendary epic items, and you're gonna restock yourself with tons of scraps. This is another common mistake. Don't use scrap to duplicate them. Stones are way too precious to use them meaningfully like this for scrap, because usually you're gonna be drowned in items in endgame, and better just use basically the dynamite option to destroy them for materials. You're gonna even earn more rare materials in this way. This is very effective way, especially for a casual players that don't have basically 8 hours per day grinding in the game like me. I usually this league plays around between 8 and 10 hours per week, and still, because I play effectively, I am very unknowledge from the game mechanics, tips, and I always think 1 or 2 move forward. That's how I managed to hit rank 5 at hardcore. So always play effectively, value your time in front of the keyboard, because some of us, I believe, we have real life issues, families, that kind of stuff. We can't spend, some of us have careers and stuff, so we can't spend, let's say, 8 hours plus in front of the game. So this is a nice tips that I can give you to use your resources properly. But let's start showcasing how this works. I'm gonna use Dark Shard for the first Waystone. This is gonna take my Waystone from the inventory and gonna open Shattered Realm. I'm gonna pop up my pharmacy and I'm gonna start grinding. This is gonna work as a normal Shattered Realm, just gonna be slower according to achieve some items. It's not gonna bump the line so fast. Always be sure your auto pick option is ticked, so you can just walk over the materials and get them. Also, I optimized this build. It's not so piano anymore. It's very beginner friendly. Also, it's very cheap. Here is a good stack, but there is a shamblers. I'm gonna avoid them for a while because this guy is pretty rippy. I don't want to be hit by their boulders and stuff, so I'm gonna reposition slightly and face tank them on the stairs. So just few mobs hits me, not the whole pack. I'm gonna go a little bit slow just for the sake of the video. I'm gonna pick up everything. Don't rush, always look after the... I'm gonna teleport this. Okay, next level is gonna be the same. Also very interesting. If you kill Nemesis, don't bump the bar like usual, more than 60%. It's just gonna count as a normal mob kill. This is how it's designed, just so you can farm properly instead of going too fast through the levels, to the chunks actually. And this is a very nice feature, so you can stay here and farm until you get enough materials. Usually I have already 29, which is a good start. And I am just a chunk too. For this one of you that don't want to watch the whole thing, you can always go fast forward. Also, I don't plan to do it till I'm gonna do the first one just to the very end, because it's pointless to showcase the treasure room and stuff. But I can do at least the first one, so you can have an idea how it goes. And I'm gonna just showcase the two Waystones, just short, maybe 1-2 chunks run, and gonna reset the game, just to give general idea how this works. As I said, I'm gonna farm now Dark Eye Shards, and I'm gonna flip them at the Forgotten Lake for crystals. This is one of my common strategies of use the farmer Waystone, because you always need crystals. Of course, if you need something else, you can farm something else. You don't have to copy my playstyle. I just give you an options, and basically I give you idea how I play. This is again a hardcore build, that's why I go a little bit slow, because I optimize it to be more tanky. I bump up defensive ability to 2.7 and I get some max resistance overcaps and stuff, so I can farm double Nemesis and that kind of stuff. I reapply some skill points, but I'm gonna leave link in the description at the optimized build. Also, this build is a very off meta, very cheap. But have very good uptime to Ascension, just it's 5 seconds of cooldown. So I have good number of absorbs and other layer of defense. DA is not the only source of defense. I have respectable armor values as well. I have 2.5. So this is a very good armor values for a caster. I don't have to face tank, but usually I'm pretty comfortable with face tanking. Just this area here is a little bit deceiving. This water actually deals damage to you, so you have to be careful. Also, I always try to stay away from the gargantuan beasts. These guys slaps very hard. This is a very nice pack, I'm gonna kill all of them. I hope I'm gonna meet Nemesis just to showcase you how the bar didn't move at all. According to be able to farm a little bit more at the chunk. Unfortunately, I ripped my fastest build, so it's gonna be kinda long video. At least at the start it's gonna be a little bit slow. But this is my best all-around build that can do everything at the league. Apart from the tiebreakers, I can't put good times on this one. Lack of burst damage is very noticeable, but clear speed is very good. Also, build is very tanky. You're gonna see that in SR15, which is one of the endgame options in the game, and this is actually a very dangerous shard, especially if you get crazy spawns and very bad mutators. At the moment I have the worst mutators possible, and I managed to survive pretty easily without much of a hassle. Okay, this chunk was quite fast. I have some good packs. Again, this worked the same way like Shattered Realm. Stronger monsters have a better chance to drop what you need. So you look after champions, heroes, nemesis, that kind of stuff. Especially if you farm a legendary one. Of course, legendary and epic items, they drop much rare. Okay, we have Zantarin. I'm gonna kill him just to show to you how actually it's not exactly like the Shattered Realm, and my bar is not gonna move at all after the kill. But he gonna drop almost guaranteed a duplicate of the item that I use. But you can see my bar stays the same. In the original game, this gonna give me 60-70% of the bar after the Nemesis kill, because they possess a huge threat. We have Alexander, one of my favorite Nemesis in the game. His model is pretty cool. And again, my bar didn't move at all. Don't be disappointed if you go slow here. This is supposed to be slow. It's nothing to compare to the Shattered Realm in the vanilla game and Shattered Realm that you can open outside of the Waystones. Outside of the Waystone, Shattered Realm works the same like the vanilla game, but this is a different type of mechanic. And according to, like I said already a few times, according to be able to farm, have to go slow through the levels, so you can have a lot of kills and a lot of chance to earn materials and stuff. Be careful with these crystals as well. They got reworked with the last patch, so some of them slaps pretty hard as well if you stay on top of them. This is two arcane monsters. I'm gonna step a little bit aside. I don't want to get hit by any of those. Because without my buffs, this build is pretty fragile. Still tanky, because most of my buffs are offensive buffs, but I don't want to get arcaned. It's never a nice thing. Of course, chunks with high density goes faster. This one is one of them, but this is one of the most dangerous chunks because of the floor damage. Okay, time for a boss room. This is exactly like the vanilla game and exactly like the League boss room. You're gonna have either heroes, nemesis, different encounters here. My build is pretty comfortable. This Gargabo actually is not very cool, so I'm gonna avoid him at any cost, especially the slum. We have Darius Cronley, or at least his Shattered Realm version, and we have Mossy. Mossy is very easy for this build. I'm gonna just take my distance and reapply the dots. Another difference from the original Shattered Realm, you can't move forward. This ends here. You can't take to the Shard 13. Let's take our loot from the boss room. Boss room is different as well. You have everything here, and you have again vendor. I recently hunt some prefixes and suffixes, that's why my green items are on. Sorry about all these items. I have 2 treasure troves. I'm gonna quick sell just to not overwhelm here. I don't need any of those, so I'm gonna sell everything. Okay, let's showcase the other Waystones. I'm gonna just few chunks, not gonna farm them. Just to not make the video so long. So next Waystone is a mundane. How I like to use it, usually I reroll a lot of set items for a different piece, just to complete the sets and try different builds. Just be careful to not use it. My other favorite moment for this Waystone is to use it for either Ratosh and Typhus. It's personal thing, I reroll a lot in the league for rare suffixes and prefixes so I can contain them. So my mundane stones mostly goes for one of those, so I'm gonna do a Ratosh because I think I am very short on this one. This is gonna open exactly the same Shattered Realm. It's gonna be Shattered Realm 12. And it's gonna work the same way, just it's gonna be a little bit more rare. And another a little bit problem, you have to pick them one by one. This doesn't, the auto pick option doesn't work for the corruptions and the essences. If you want to progress your tree faster, you can use stones as well to duplicate the essence of alteration. It's personal thing, as I said. Sometimes items gonna bugged. For these essences, that's okay, they are quite cheap, but sometimes you're gonna bug a legendary item like this and it's very painful, because when you run a legendary Waystone you can get 5 or 6 in total. Sometimes my best I think was 8. And it's kinda brutal when items got bugged and you can't pick it up. Now it's kinda okay. Monday Stone usually nets you 70-80 of the thing that you're gonna sacrifice at the altar. We have Kaisen, another Nemesis that's very easy for this build. He gives me a lot of window to damage him. And also I can fully face tank him. No big of a deal. Okay, I'm gonna reset the session. This is pretty much the mundane. From one single chunk, you're gonna expect between 10 and 15. If you are lucky enough, maybe 20. But I never see these numbers, usually between 10 and 15. This time I have a mediocre roll. I just get 12, but that's okay. I'm gonna reset the session, so I'm gonna show the legendary Waystone because he's quite different. Okay, how we can use this one, the most rare one. Usually, for example, I want to corrupt my weapon, or I want to corrupt my medal or my ring, or I need farm lotuses, this is when legendary Waystone comes in handy. For example, I prefer to use it for a very expensive crafts or very rare items. I gonna mention one note: you can't duplicate Moira blades for understandable reasons. This is a very OP item. You have to kill Moira several times if you want to corrupt it. But let's say Blaze Rush, this is actually this is a corrupted one, but I think it's a bad corruption. So I'm gonna sacrifice this. This not gonna copy the corruption, it's gonna copy just the base of the item. But let's say I want to corrupt more of this. So I'm gonna use it. And I'm gonna... This is gonna open shard 15. As I said, you need a very good build. A proper endgame build, not some faction gear, fresh 100, blah blah blah. Especially in hardcore. Because mobs here and all the other mechanics slaps really hard. Also, we look for heroes. This trash, they can't drop the item usually. Also, it's good to summon my pets. I was curious why I don't score any damage. All my resistance shred is not summoned. Main target here is Nemesis. They have a high chance to drop the item. Okay, we got a Blaze Rush from a random mob. This is pretty rare, but can happen. This time Alexander is gonna hit pretty hard. The difference between shard 12 and 15 is a very big one. So respect him. He can be very easy in the game, but in shards actually it's quite dangerous. Okay, he didn't drop the item. Here you expect at least one copy per chunk. You can get sometimes 2. I think my best was 3, but that happened just once. Your main target's heroes, Nemesis, are hard, basically hard enemies. This drop from a random mob was very rare. Let's proceed. I'm gonna do at least 2-3 chunks just to get an idea how much items you can get. There is Zantarin at the back. He can shotgun, so respect him. again, especially this mechanic. His thunder mechanic is a shotgun. He is very dangerous in melee range, so actually I almost missed one blaze rush, sorry. He's gonna make total of 2. That's why pay attention to the minimap, because this was a off-screen kill and I always miss it. Let's do another chunk. This is the most horrible map that you can get in Shattered Realm. I hate it. It's so hard to navigate here. Let's get some buff, just for fun. Be careful with the oppressors as well, they cut max life. In my case this is 5k, which can be very dangerous, especially in a pack of monsters. Another Kaisen. Of course, I'm gonna kite a little bit because I pull way too much heroes. That's kinda scary. And here I can face tank him pretty easily. I'm gonna avoid just as you can see, this is a good source of legendary item when you aim for a nemesis. Another blaze rush. As you can see, corruption is gone. They are just plain bases. Also, you can't duplicate, for example, epic items that you roll on them suffix prefix. This is gonna disappear as well. So don't be tricked. Use a plain basis when you're gonna duplicate. You don't want to waste your good affixes and stuff. Your corruptions as well. Be careful with these trees as well, they use a very special slam attack. If the first hit land, the second one deals extra damage. That's why my bar get depleted to 50%. And this is just one tree, imagine 2 heroes like this. Usually this is how most of the deaths happened Shattered Realm. I'm not gonna go over for these mobs, I'm gonna end up the video here. In general, you got idea how this Waystones works. If you have any more questions, I am always willing to help at Discord. Also in the commentary section below the video. I'm gonna leave a glimpse of the build of the optimized version. And thank you everyone for watching. See you in the next one.